Hello, 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 and welcome to the Press Y podcast with Gunnar and Pat. This is our very fourth episode. Indeed. So,
Four.
1,
2, 3, 4.
That's the number.
This is 4.
We've counted up. This is
It's 5
this
if
is
you
the
count the
fourth
one we
week.
didn't post because we didn't post it.
Yeah, we didn't post it.
We made a whole episode, didn't post it.
That's actually not true.
It's going to be bonus content for early subscribers, for ambassadors.
For our Patreons.
It's going to be bonus content for the Press Y podcast ambassador program.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye out for that.
Just for our reps at Audible once they sponsor us.
If you're one of our first subscribers, one of the first 15, I think that's how many we have.
Something like that.
We'll
all friends and family.
We'll hook you up with the ambassador program. You'll get that unreleased episode 0.
Episode 0.
Press Y beginnings.
Beta. Press Y beginnings. All right, but seriously, welcome to this week's podcast. So this Press Y podcast is a weekly podcast where Pat and I discuss weekly gaming news as well as our thoughts on the gaming industry and just other things surrounding it. And this week we have quite a few things happen. But before we get to that, I just want to remind you all to like this video, subscribe, hit that little the groovy little bell.
Ding ding ding.
Ding ding ding. Yeah, and do all that stuff. Follow us on Twitter. We're trying to grow, become a franchise, a corporation. If
Gunnar is. I'm just here for fun.
He's just I like money. Anyway, well, you like money too.
I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, you keep trying to sell your. I'm not gonna bring up DK. All right.
Please don't. I've actually sold it.
Okay,
we're good.
You're good. You got the cash.
Yeah, I got the cash.
Okay.
Immediately disappeared. That organization that we mentioned last week from the Press Y lore is still after me.
Tapped into your bank account.
They heard that I had gotten a little bit of money and that I was a bit more liquid, and they immediately, like literally as soon as I sold it, I should not have broadcast that sale over the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're listening. We're not getting enough views for them to know about it.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
They're after me though. They know.
Yeah, they know. All right. Well, the first thing on our list, Samsung had their Samsung Unpacked conference where they showed off the Galaxy Note 10. Yes, we are still a gaming podcast on a phones podcast, but important thing here is they showed that on the Samsung Games Launcher, they're actually updating it to where you can have native Discord support, which is really cool to see on a phone. See Discord expanding to platforms outside of just PC. Obviously, there's Discord app and all apps and stuff across all platforms. But seeing it actually integrated into someone else's game-specific service is pretty interesting. And this isn't the first time, we've heard talk of Discord integrating into a service before. They've talked about wanting to be on the Switch as well, and there was a lot of fan outcry for Nintendo to use Discord as their voice over internet provider as well. So, that obviously didn't happen.
But instead, we got a fantastic app on our cell phones, and it's great, and we love it. And we love it so much.
Love it.
And I will file damages against anybody who says otherwise.
I am a happy consumer with my Nintendo Switch Online. I actually fun story, not really fun story, but I actually used it to talk to people online the other day.
Why?
I was in a Smash Arena and it popped up saying that people were in chat, and I was like, oh yeah, I have this app.
Oh, and you actually,
I've never used it. I tried it out. And
I have it, but I've actually never used it to chat.
And so here's a weird thing is like whenever you're in an arena and then you get into a game, there's like multiple channels within your arena, like voice channels. So it like files you into a different voice channel. Well, about maybe 70% of the time it files you into the right channel. Other than that, it just sticks you out into the void. And it says you're with people, but you're not. And then you have to restart the app.
What the hell?
Yeah.
That's... I mean, I guess that's to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was completely expected.
Yeah.
So I stopped using it pretty quick.
Sure.
But, it was the first time I talked to other Switch people online.
I don't play Smash online, and I don't really play Splatoon, so I don't play any games that use it. So.
Oh boy. But yeah, so not too much to talk about there. Just it's cool to see Discord integrate into something like that. The next thing I wanted to talk about is something cool that both Pat and I saw this week. So this company called Genki, they're actually known for they make like a...
Not to be confused with Goku.
Not to be confused with Goku.
Who's kind of hot.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not that much. Anyway, they created a Bluetooth adapter for like Bluetooth headsets for your Switch. I believe it was on Kickstarter. And so that's where they got their name. Well, they're coming out on Kickstarter with another product called the Genki Wall Charger Dock, and it's like a little USB. It almost looks like one of those fancy fast chargers, but it's like a USB-C wall charger that has all the stuff necessary to dock your Switch. So you run a USB-C cable from your Switch to your to the Genki wall charger dock, and then from there's an HDMI out, and then that HDMI out goes to your TV, just like a normal dock. Well, this is really, really cool and something I'd really, really want. But we have seen in the past something like the Nyko dock, which ended up kind of failing miserably. Not kind of, it did fail miserably. There were many people who actually had their switches being bricked or having other electrical issues or something happen with the switch, getting fried or whatever. So it's a touchy area buying third-party Switch docks. But Genki is claiming on this Verge article that I read, they're claiming that they know where all those issues
I also read it.
Oh, he did also read it. Well, that's because we saw the same thing.
I want our viewers to know that I also read the articles.
Yeah. Well, okay, good. It's
so easy to derail you.
It is, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it actually has. They talked about where they see the issues with like the Nyko docks and the other docks, and that it's essentially the power being limited to the Switch, or there's too much power going to the Switch, voltage or whatever. I don't understand all that.
Unlimited power.
But yeah, Switch charging dock wall thing. Click the link in the description. I'll let you see a picture of it. It's really cool. But it looks promising. It's $50 though, and you can get a normal Switch charger or a Switch dock for like $60 if you look for one used. So, it is competing up there with the normal Switch dock that isn't going to fry your Switch. So I'm going to wait until it releases and then kind of take a look and see if it's something that's worth the investment. And it's not going to make me spend another $300 on a Switch. Because it's cool. It's very portable and it can be used like a normal charger. It's really cool.
What I'm more interested in though is, just the amount of attention this Kickstarter has gotten. When did it even launch? It launched earlier this week, right?
Something like that, yeah.
But in that amount of time, it's already gotten a fair amount of press, a fair amount of coverage. I'd be interested to see if Nintendo has any interest in making a portable dock that could potentially be a little bit cheaper. With the Switch Lite, people are going to be looking to maybe pick up docks. Potentially, we're not sure if that'll even have docking capabilities or if it's...
Oh, like down the road?
Yeah.
Do they unlock it?
Yeah. I don't know. But if it does, it could be another option that's a little cheaper. I don't know. It could pique Nintendo's interest in making a different style dock that would be sold independently of the bundle.
I feel like... Yeah, okay. The problem with that... they'd have to make the more portable dock have some disadvantage to it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like if it's going to be $30 instead of, what does it retail, like 90, something like that?
The dock by itself?
Yeah.
No,
like that. It comes in a bundle. So it's like the dock, HDMI cable, and then a power cable. I think it retails like 90, but you can get them used for 60 or something like that.
Well, Nintendo's selling them refurbished now for like 40, I think. I saw that somewhere.
Man, I'm gonna have to look at that then.
Yeah.
Because I want something cheap for my apartment. So what would be cool though to differentiate is if like a smaller mobile dock would just output like whatever the screen is outputting in mobile mode for the Switch.
It's called handheld mode, you idiot.
Sorry,
you idiot.
Yeah, but if they did that and so is outputting at lower resolutions and all that, the Switch would be running cooler as well, and so that would also avoid having to do a ton of testing to make sure that there'd be enough ventilation. So, and it'd be a differentiating factor and a reason to buy like a better Switch dock.
That is a potential problem with this one, even if they can get the output right. The Switch gets crazy hot.
It gets pretty toasty.
Smash.
Yeah.
And the fans, when I play Smash on the TV and then I pull it out of the dock, I can just hear the fans, like even holding it at waist level as I'm walking, I can hear the fans going. So you would probably have to be pretty careful with the Switch itself and maybe prop it up on something so that it's getting proper ventilation. That would be my main concern with using something like this.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But it's definitely a Kickstarter to keep your eye on. If that's
something to keep your eye on.
Keep
the apple of my eye.
Uh-huh. All right. All right, what's the next story?
The Reggie one. This one's like 2 minutes, maybe.
Well, then tell us all about it.
Well, Gears 5, not Gears of War.
Not
For all you
Gears of
casual
War.
gamers, we do not like casual gamers. Gears 5 has an achievement called My Body is Ready, and Reggie mentioned it on Twitter, so he probably approves of it. That's it. That's the story. It's funny. It's kind of a good little bit, a good way to kind of maybe spice up your day, maybe give you a little hee-hee, a little ooh-hoo, you know? Thought we'd share it with you. I thought it was funny. When I told Gunnar, he literally hit me. He punched me right in the face. He was like,
Allegedly.
don't bring that into my house. Don't bring that into my damn house, Pat. He literally punched me. For all you
Allegedly.
for all you stands out there, that is part of the lore.
That is part of
That on what's today? August 10th. Yeah. On August 10th, Gunnar punched me in the face as hard as he could for bringing in a story.
21X.
Lore. Oh.
What?
Never mind. That should probably never mind. All right, so finally Pokemon was getting some positive press in the news. They released a new trailer for Sword and Shield coming out in November. Sword and Shield.
That's pretty funny. How does it feel?
What?
Being on my end.
Well, I mean, it was funny. It was funny, so shut up. Basically, the new trailer dropped, showed off the rival team, Team Yell. It is based off a toxic fan base, and they...
Give us national
I don't
play Pokemon, that's just what they say.
Yeah. And also they released Galarian forms, which are similar in structure to the Alolan forms that we saw in the last generation. They released 3, I believe. The Zigzagoon, Zigzag, Zeepzobzorp, Dope.
Pulling up my thing.
Whatever it is.
Play Pokemon. It was the Galarian Weezing and
Zigzagoon. And Zigzagoon. Yeah. And they also released a new Pokemon. What is it? Morpeko. It basically just looks like Pikachu, but it gets hungry. Yeah, and when it gets hungry, it changes form.
It has full belly mode.
And that's interesting. I think if they did that with a few, that would be a fun reason to use those Pokemon. I don't know.
I think it's interesting that the word hangry is in a Nintendo game.
Yeah. Well, it's not technically Nintendo.
It's not technically, but...
I mean, neither Gunnar nor I are huge Pokemon stans, but...
Nope. I played Let's Go Eevee for the first time. Well, that was my very first Pokemon game this year, and it wasn't very fun. It got challenging at the end with the what is it? Not the Fantastic Four, the Elite Four. At the very end, it was actually pretty challenging, but I mean that was like the only challenge I had throughout the entire game. So I didn't like it. I'll still probably pick up. Actually, no, I think I have Shield pre-ordered, so I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, I pre-ordered Shield as well.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, wow.
We're all just on the same wavelength. All right, let's move on. I don't want to keep talking about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Next thing, Sean Murray of Hello Games, everybody's favorite sort of con artist. Well, he just said that the Switch is. He really likes the Switch. He didn't say that.
He thinks it's fun.
He thinks it's fun.
He thinks it's quirky.
The No Man's Sky
he thinks it's cool.
update is it's coming out on August 14th. So for
Tuesday, that is.
The 3 people who are still playing No Man's Sky, worst $30 I've ever spent in my life. Even after the big update that they had.
I played it on a friend's PC and it was fun.
It's not fun.
I thought it was cool. But I also only played it for 20 minutes and spent exactly $0 on it. So
yeah, something about no, it's not fun. Something about flying from planet to planet. It's like a cool novelty.
Yeah.
But then once you're looking at the little counter that's counting down from a minute until your arrival, and you're doing that constantly, going back and forth between places, it just gets.
Just the number of repeated structures you see, it's just.
And I also got in whenever the first multiplayer update came out. I bought it on PC with one of our buddies, and even still, he'd experience one weather on one planet while I'd experience the other, on the same planet, and stuff like that, and we couldn't really interact well with each other. It's just stupid. Anyway, Sean Murray said that, quote, "I love the Switch." So people are saying, "Wow, so No Man's Sky must be coming to the Switch." I don't really think that it's going to be coming to the Switch anytime soon.
I have no idea.
It's it's a pretty big game, and Murray went on to talk about how they've optimized the game significantly, mainly because of the PSVR version of the game, which that's going to require a lot of optimizations to get it to a frame rate where people won't get sick to their stomach playing it. So it'd be kind of interesting to see No Man's Sky come to Switch, just in a business sense, seeing more third-party support, especially for, I guess you'd consider this a larger game. So interesting, but don't buy No Man's Sky. Actually, if it comes out on Switch, buy No Man's Sky, because I want to see these kind of games end up on the Switch, like big, well-known games come on the Switch. But that's not very fun. Moving on from there, what else we got? Oh, this is one that you put in our Google Doc. The 5 million courses in Mario Maker. I don't think I saw this. What's that all about? Sounds pretty straightforward.
People have uploaded 5 million courses to Mario Maker 2 on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so the community is still going. It is doing well, and as more people continue to upload more courses, it inspires maybe more people to play the game. I mean, we saw Mario Maker 1 obviously had a huge community that stayed pretty active throughout the entirety of the Wii U's life, or even until Super Mario Maker 2 came out.
No, it really did, yeah.
So, I mean, it's good to see that Mario Maker 2 is maintaining that community, is maintaining that forward momentum. That's kind of it.
And I think something that's really interesting about Mario Maker in general, it's a really fun game. Obviously, Nintendo game. It's really great quality, all that. But it has a really big social media presence. I mean, think of all the Nintendo games, and on top of them is Super Mario Maker as far as being like present in social media. That, and I'd probably say Smash as well, just because of esports. But I mean, you'll see popular levels get posted, or even big companies like Wendy's making their own courses in Mario Maker, and that's pretty cool because you don't see people get too involved in other games. But it's a cool game, very cool product. Moving on to our very last topic for this week's episode. It's actually our biggest topic. So the big three, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, made a pledge with the ESA that on their platforms they're going to require people to disclose the odds for loot boxes. So, a game has loot boxes and they want to publish on one of those platforms, then those companies are requiring the publisher to disclose the loot box odds. And I think this is a great step forward. We're also seeing other companies coming out to support the pledge as well. People like Activision Blizzard, Bethesda, EA, Ubisoft. We even had Epic Games come out and say that for Fortnite and Rocket League and the rest of their library, they're going to support the pledge. But right now it's unclear if the Epic Games Store is going to require game.
Their statement is a little vague, so it could mean the Epic Games Store is going to require it. It could mean all Epic Games are going to have.
But for sure, Epic Games
yes,
are. It's
definitely
just
that.
Whether or not they haven't gotten a full statement, whether or not they're going to do that on the Epic Games Store, and I really hope they do.
Interestingly enough, THQ Nordic actually came out and said they weren't going to pledge, but they said,
a big shock.
Yeah, but they said that because they're just not going to put loot boxes in. So that's funny. That's just that's just funny.
Yeah, it's very good. But loot boxes are, they're a staple at this point in the gaming industry. So in 2018 alone, an estimated $30 billion was spent worldwide, and this is coming from Telegraph, the UK publication. And they also estimated that by 2022, they're going to have 50 billion done worldwide. And if I said 30 million, I meant 30 billion. But that's a big chunk of change. That's a lot of money for this kind of industry. And so, we've also seen regulators come out and like in the US and even abroad, I believe in Belgium is where Nintendo actually had to stop selling loot boxes in a couple of their apps. I believe it was in Belgium. I'll have to double check that. But this is this act of self-regulation to avoid further regulation by government agencies. And we've seen there's a Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri. Back in May, he introduced a bipartisan bill to get passed that would disallow loot box mechanics as well as pay-to-win style mechanics in games that are targeting minors. So, companies regulating themselves before the government can get to them typically ends up benefiting the company more than what ends up happening with the government, at least in this sense. And like with what was it, the ERSB or ESRB?
Yeah, when in like the 90s, I believe, when video game companies were under a lot of scrutiny, especially Sega, big video game publishers and manufacturers came together and basically created the ESRB, exactly the same way the film industry did with whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But the film industry did the exact same thing with the ratings board or whatever it's called. The ESRB is the exact same, where companies, instead of having the government get in and censor, or not censor, I say censor in a completely apolitical way, just regulate.
We are a non-political podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than regulating the industry, the industry itself decides we'll take steps to make sure that we're keeping consumers safe from things that they wouldn't otherwise know about. And this is kind of a similar situation in which the industry is saying, hey, look, we don't want to be forced to do something, so we'll do it on our terms, and hopefully that meets the criteria.
Which, you know, again, you know, it's good that they're putting the numbers and like the actual odds for the loot boxes, but you know, we still have the issue of kids being targeted by loot boxes, and that's where I draw the line on this whole issue. Like, you know, it is gambling. It really, really is gambling. It's technically not gambling because there's no tangible benefit from it, but still, you get a digital item, you get a digital whatever, and it gets addicting because, you know, you roll once, like, oh crap, I'm gonna roll again because I didn't get what I want, and it's a cycle that goes over and over, and it's obviously a $1 billion part of this industry. So, you know, they're gonna want to try to keep it as intact as possible. So we'll see where this goes. I honestly think further steps should be taken to regulate themselves even further, but we'll kind of see where this goes.
I mean, it could end up doing absolutely nothing with this bill that's coming, because it doesn't necessarily stop people from, especially kids. I mean, kids aren't going to be like, oh, I have a 1 in X chance of getting this specific item. That means statistically I shouldn't bother spending. That's not how it works.
They see their friends have it. They see YouTubers have it, influencers, whoever. They want it, of course. And what's the only way to get it is buying loot box.
Mm-hmm.
And again, even if it's just their parents' money, they're still getting addicted to it. So it's extremely unethical. But I still think that this is a great first step. But it's definitely not the end all be all to the entire issue. So I hope to see further self-regulation in the future. Then we'll see. But that's it for the news this week. So as we do every week, we have a Press Y. Something we like, something we hate, something we in between, just something that we are pressing that Y button for. Patrick, start us off. What are you pressing Y for this week?
I'm pressing Y for the game Grease. Gunnar said he thought it was called Gris, but GRIS, published by Devolver Digital. It is just an absolutely stunning game. It is all hand animated with watercolor. And it's, I don't even know what genre, I guess I would call it a puzzle platformer, but it's one of the most relaxed experiences. It's about probably 3 to 5 hours, I would guess, but the price reflects that. And it has one of the most touching narratives I've ever seen about finding yourself, finding your voice, quite literally and figuratively, and dealing with trauma in a healthy way. And I think it is one of the most stunning examples in my eyes of video games truly being art. And when I was thinking about buying it, I read a review that was like, you would get a relatively similar experience watching someone else play it as you would playing it yourself. And I think to a degree that's true, because it's not about the challenge. It's not about any puzzles. I mean, there are a few moments where I kind of had to stop for a second and think, what do I do here? But for the most part, it was almost a film-like experience in which I was watching this main character, who's nameless, just go through this world, and it's stunning. And I thoroughly recommend it to anybody. I loved it. I loved it so much. I bought the digital version because it was Devolver Digital, so it only came out digitally at first. And then I bought it was limited run or something.
Oh, yeah,
one of those
limited run games.
Yeah, I don't think it was limited run though, but it was a company that's similar to that. Special Reserve games.
Oh, okay.
I bought a physical copy that'll come at some point. And I loved it that much. I wanted to support it that much. I mean, a big fan of Devolver Digital, but that may be my favorite Devolver Digital game.
Really? So you loved it that much, you just had to press Y for it this week?
I played it a while ago. I just remembered it like earlier this week, and I wanted to slam that Y button for y'all.
Slam it, mash it.
Slam it.
Right. So this week I'm pressing Y for Halo Reach. So I'm not a huge shooters guy, but I did play a good bit of Halo Reach and Halo 4 back on the Xbox 360 days, and I really, really enjoyed those games. They were just my favorite multiplayer shooters. But I pulled out my Xbox 360 a couple weeks ago, and I've been playing through the campaign on Halo Reach because all I ever did was the multiplayer. I never did the campaign. So I had one of my buddies who's a huge Halo fan come over, and we've just been playing through the campaign. We're almost done with it. And it's very fun. And, you know, you touched on video games being art, seeing some of the cutscenes in this game, even though I can't remember what year it came out, but a while back at this point, but even still back in its era, some of the cinematics and the shots are just so cinematic. Or like I know that's repetitive, but it very much is movie. It very is movie-esque. So I've been really enjoying Halo Reach, and also the Master Chief Collection is coming to Steam later this year, and I'm really looking forward to that. They're having some issues right now, some bugs that they're having to squash for the test flight or whatever they ended up calling it, some weird name. But I'm really looking forward for the Master Chief Collection mainly because of Halo Reach. It's one of my favorite shooters of all time. So that's what I'm pressing that good old Y button for this week. Any other lore? This can be direct. This can be just like from the spigot of truth.
I have no lore today.
No lore today. Just other than that, I punched you on.
Yeah, well, other than that, there's no additional lore. We got to drip feed it to them.
We do have to drip feed
We're not.
They have to piece it together.
We're not drinking from a hose. We're working on it.
We're working on it. We'll fill you in. Anyway, again, like and subscribe this video. Not this video. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel, and ring-a-ding-ding that groovy little bell.
We've got some interesting stuff coming up. Maybe a new series.
Possibly a few new series
coming out.
Maybe Smash Bros. Related. Maybe more news during the week related.
Maybe cooking related.
It could be, dude.
It might be. But
I
stay tuned.
I also have an idea.
Oh boy, an idea.
I want to make you play Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and we can stream it.
Oh boy.
Dolphin.
Oh boy.
Really fun.
Don't you? Well, whatever. We can talk about this off mic. But
okay. All right.
All right.
All right.
Well,
like and subscribe.
Whoop.
Whoop whoop whoop.